It should be $1,000, but it's $3,000. Why? It's the backbone of business. Trust me on this. It's the first thing to get cut when there's budget cuts, but it's the first thing you should never cut. If you could only save time or money, which would you choose? You should probably try to save time. I want to talk about outsourcing marketing. If you don't have a marketing person internally in your organization, you might get lucky and be able to hire outside resources, consultants, freelancers, and tools, SaaS, Stack, and things will go okay. But I've seen this for 15 years. You think that you're saving money by not having a CMO or even just a marketing director or manager, whatever their salary is per year. You're like, well, we're not going to hire that person because we're not really a marketing-esque company. We don't really need it, which is a misconception. Every company needs marketing. Without marketing, you will not have revenue, sales. You won't grow. You won't be able to reach anybody. It's the backbone of business. Trust me on this. It's the first thing to get cut when there's budget cuts, but it's the first thing you should never cut. You don't have good marketing, you won't have customers. You won't have retention. You won't be able to grow. You might get lucky and have some people that stick around, but it won't be acquiring new customers. It touches literally everything that's customer facing and even employee internal facing marketing. It's not ads. It's much bigger. Advertising is a part of marketing. There is no prompt engineer for your marketing strategy. There is no way to have this done if you yourself don't really know a lot about marketing and you're thinking, well, I can kind of do this. Like I could throw up my own Google ads. I could hire a consultant for these things. If you don't have somebody internally really managing and quarterbacking that, it's going to be problematic and oftentimes good money after bad. What I've seen is people stacking tools and resources and thinking they're saving money, but ultimately it's more expensive. Because if you don't have that quarterback throwing the spiral, the team's like running around the field, but we don't even have a playbook. What are we doing? We're just running because we're on the field. Like we're supposed to be here. We're supposed to do this, right? Let me check the box. Let me get on the field. But I don't know what the play is. I don't even know how to make the play. If you don't have that marketing background, how could you? I don't know how to lay bricks or build a home. I wouldn't go set out to do that. I would hire a builder, someone that knows their craft. You're expecting varsity wins, but you don't have a quarterback. This deteriorates the budget. It wastes time. It may seem short-term, less expensive, but ultimately it is much more expensive. And there's this whole misconception about cost. It's very interesting to me when somebody says, okay, so how much is this per month? Let's say like retainer, marketing strategy, or social, or podcast production. You're saving so much money by not having a full-time employee doing this. You're not paying taxes. You're not paying healthcare when you hire an outside person. So the cost is commensurate with the fact that that person is paying for their own marketing costs, their own healthcare and overhead and all of that. The benefit to you is you don't have to mess with having an employee. But the problem is if you don't have somebody overseeing all of these resources and you're thinking like, oh, I'm the founder or the CEO, I can keep an eye on all the marketing resources we're using. You shouldn't and can't. You're busy. You're doing other things. You're growing the business. This needs to fall under marketing. It blows my mind how many companies don't actually have a marketing person on staff and they outsource it. And you can outsource some things like vendors and tools and consultants and campaign related, project related. Sure. I do fractional CMO work for companies. I can pop in for 2 months and help. Here's the strategy. Now you guys can go implement it. Here are my recs. Here's how to do that. But frankly speaking, it oftentimes doesn't get applied correctly. And it's one of those things where it can be measured. There is an ROI to many marketing activities, but if you're so obsessed with the ROI, you've kind of missed the point of the whole thing, which is a lot of it is brand recognition, affinity, and efficacy over time. That's not a PPC ad. It's not a Coke machine. It's not advertising, it's marketing. Just like sales, sometimes sales has a long cycle. Good marketing can take a long time too. Brand building. And like I said in that previous episode, all marketing is one of three things. It's either branding, PR, or direct response. Everything else is just tactics that falls under those three buckets. I will link to that past episode in the show notes below. The average financial advisor's cost to acquire a client, the CAC, which I love that word CAC. Some people don't like it. They think it sounds like another word, but CAC. Cost to acquire a customer or a client, or some people say client acquisition cost. The average financial advisor's CAC is over $3,000. Robo-advisors average $500 to $1,000. That means it's, let's call it $750 to acquire a new customer for whether it's Betterment, Wealthfront, whoever. Average robo. Why is it 3x that for an advisor, for an RIA? It's the marketing. There's other reasons. There's a perception of hassle. There's so many reasons why people don't hire advisors or why it's more expensive to get a new client in the door. Do you think that by not hiring a marketing person to really run that strategy, you're going to be saving money? Is that cost going to go up or down? So if you're spending 3x on client acquisition, it should be $1,000, but it's $3,000. Why? Why is that happening? What's going on with the marketing? What's missing? If I handed you a book written in French and you don't speak French, sure, you could scan it and pick up on a couple of the idioms, words that are similar in English, and maybe get a gist. Maybe you remembered some high school French, but you're not going to understand the book. It's not in your language. I mean, there are languages I don't speak. Like, I don't understand options trading. I have a very basic understanding of it. I wouldn't go start doing it because I watched a YouTube video on it. What's interesting about this moment in time is there's more information out there to teach you how to do whatever you want. You can learn it on the internet, usually for free. Editing video, writing blog posts, mastering SEO, mastering ChatGPT. Sure, and I've even made content to help you with those kind of things. But just because you watch some content on it doesn't mean that you know how to do it in an optimal way, in a way that's really going to benefit the bottom line, which is get the CAC down. Grow the business. What I'm really getting at is I've seen so many clients, and I love these clients and I enjoy working with them, and they think they're saving money by not having a high level marketer on their own team, and they're calling me or outsourcing things to me, and I help a lot. But I'm saying, wouldn't it be more effective if they had a marketing person and I was sort of talking to them instead of talking to someone who doesn't understand marketing? And there's no shade on that. Like, I don't understand options trading. I don't understand Chinese. So if you're working on Chinese and I'm like, oh, approving all your Chinese work, I don't even speak Chinese. I shouldn't be approving that. I have no business looking at it. Marketing is a lot like that. People wrongly assume that they kind of understand it because they themselves are a consumer or because they themselves see brands marketing in their feed all day. Doesn't mean you know how to do it. That's why the cost is over $3,000 for a lot of these firms. And, this applies to other businesses as well. Don't be penny wise and pound foolish. Like, think about, what is this actually costing me to not spend money on it? The opportunity cost of trying to cut corners. Trying to simplify it ends up being more complex. If you are coming to Future Proof this week in Huntington Beach, I will be there. Come say hello. We also have a special offer just for anybody attending Future Proof. It's at beetlemoment.com/futureproof. 3 exclusive marketing offers just for Future Proof attendees. Really cool stuff. Some podcast services, branding, digital audits. All of it is a good investment. It will help your CAC. But at the same time, I would consider hiring somebody that really understands marketing to be on your team. You are listening to Voice Marketing with Emily Binder. This podcast airs about every week or two on your favorite podcast app and with clips on YouTube. You can go to emilybinder.com/podcast for links to everything. Make sure that you thumb this video up if you're watching on YouTube. Leave a comment below with any questions, and I will talk to you next time.